I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is KDot. KDot, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing well. So everybody knows we took a little hiatus because your boy got the vid. But I am finally out of isolation, feeling great, testing negative, feeling amazing that I'm not putting everybody else at risk, and I'm still alive, even though the anxiety level is pretty high because all the people that get heart attacks after COVID, your boy's not in the best of shape. So, yeah, I'm going to leave out of here today and go get some anti-anxiety meds so I can get through the second part of COVID, which is my post-COVID anxiety.
All right, perfect. So yeah. we'll get you through that. And just a friendly reminder to all those that do follow us, A-Train did not get COVID. And so maybe something to do with the habits that A-Train has that makes it more okay.
It's an offset, right? Like, I mean, that's you do enough blow, your sinus cavities are probably all clogged up. COVID can't get in.
Say clear as day, in fact, but only of the good stuff. Allegedly. So today's episode, we are going to be talking about the preseason so far. We played 2 games. We've won 2 games. It's been rather refreshing. Last season, we were 0-3 in the preseason. So while preseason games are relatively meaningless, nice to win a couple. So we're going to talk about our preseason thoughts so far. We were also going to ask the question, do you have a problem with Terry McLaurin being in the game for the 2-minute drill just before the halftime break, because he did end up hurting himself. He did end up getting an injured toe. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're just going to jump over to the comment mailbag as we always do. And then after the pod. So KDot 2-0 this preseason. Your screen is gone again, but that doesn't stop us. So far 2-0. We played the Browns. We've played the Ravens, dominating the AFC North this preseason so far. We got the Bengals coming up. What have you made so far? Any key observations from you about the offense, about the defense, heck, even special teams coaching? The floor is yours, KDot. What do you want to say as you're frozen?
My computer also caught its own version of COVID, apparently. So I'm going to be in and out every once in a while, you know?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Camera will be working, it won't be. So preseason. I think there's always an onus for me to want to throw cold water on anything that's really happening in the preseason. Mm-hmm. I'm always remembering more than probably anything else. 2001, was it August 2001? The Steve Spurrier year when we routed the San Francisco 49ers in Osaka, Japan. And it looked like, holy shit, the fun and gun offense, the quarterback carousel, it's all going to work. And then we all know how that fucking ended up, right? But I do believe that there is it's not about what the final score is. It's not about what it is that, it's not even about necessarily the win. It's about how it is the guys are playing. And then beyond that, like what it is you're gleaning from it. Like, I think a lot of people, especially this Baltimore game, going into it, you keep hearing about the streak. They haven't lost a preseason game since 2015. This
24-game win streak. Yeah,
right. So there's that element of it, and then you look at the Ravens and you're like, well, this is a team that they say they don't really care about the preseason, but they care about this win streak. There's no way that they don't care about the win streak, right? There is an element to finishing the game, or at least seeing what it is your backups and your third stringers will do and how hard they'll fight to make things happen. I think it's a huge thing, especially for this franchise, going post Dan Snyder to showing that like the guys give a shit, the fans give a shit, everybody kind of being in it and fueling off of this. And it's, what do you do with it is to me the exciting part about it, right? Is that, can you carry this? Can you feel this way? Can you understand what it takes to win, from the starters all the way down to your third stringers and the people that are barely making the team? What do you do? can you feed off of this energy? The town, the team, everything feels different. Having Josh Harris in the fucking booth with Joe and Troy, seeing him on the sideline, seeing him in the stands in some of these games, like that to me is energy that this team, this organization, this town is needing. And it's something that I just think is an absolute breath of fresh air. And outside of just being an absolute breath of fresh air, I really do think when we're looking at some of the guys, like at the linebacker position, some of the stuff in the secondary, some of the dudes on the defensive line, like this, an NFL team usually is only as good as their depth. And to me, if you got guys that are playing this hard, when we know injuries are always a thing, these are only positives. These are only good things you can hang your hat on.
Yeah, on the subject of preseason, right? And you're talking about riding specific energy into the season. Josh Harris, the new owner, there's a now buzz and electricity within the fan base about how we are doing. What can we do with this? On the topic of that, the Baltimore Ravens 24-game win streak. A lot of people say, hey, it's preseason, it's meaningless. I get it. Like, it doesn't necessarily translate over to the regular season. Those wins, you can't take them with you, but it does represent how good the coaching is to me. For example, you could see how animated John Harbaugh was on the sideline when calls weren't going his way. It clearly meant something to them, right? So I would say that preseason is important from the coaching perspective, from the energy perspective, like KDot said, even though he's not here with us at this time.
I'm here.
But I want to focus on the offense, KDot, because the defense I have a lot of faith in. I have a lot of faith in this defense to end up being very, very good this coming season. There's too much talent on that side of the ball. We've invested a lot on that side of the ball. Emmanuel Forbes looks great. For example, Quan Martin, yes, he did get burned, but at the end of the day, the catch wasn't made. He picks it off. He goes the other way for 50, 60 yards. Like, I feel good about the defense. The offense, we had Eric Bieniemy come in, right? We're not sure how that's going to go. So far, so good. I think it's been largely clean. I think in the very first game against Cleveland, yes, there were offensive line issues. There are going to continue to be offensive line issues, KDot. But I think Sam has looked fantastic. I think Sam Howell has looked as good as you could have hoped this preseason, and then some. You got a lot of national media attention against the Baltimore Ravens. He went 19 to 25, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, right? He showed you that he can move around in the pocket. He can extend the play. I am very pleased with the progress the offense has made. When you look back at Ron Rivera and Eric Bieniemy and those comments, Eric's got this offense going. And so early returns are excellent. Early returns are excellent on the offensive end. Now, again, we're going to be 0-0 at the start of the regular season, just like every other team. But we have done an excellent job cleaning up a lot of the little silly stuff that we saw last season. Already, you can see the attention to detail from the offensive line. You can see the attention to detail from the running backs blocking, and Eric Bieniemy called that out. And you can see how talented our playmakers are because Sam is delivering the ball on time. So I want to highlight and give kudos to the offense. And I also want to highlight and give kudos to the fans that knew ahead of time that, hey, Sam is a lot better than the national media is giving him credit for. Because I think we've known, it's not a secret for us. Sam Howell looks like he can be the real deal. Can he be a franchise level guy? We'll find out. But is he a NFL starter? I think he's shown you more than enough for the answer to be yes. KDot, what do you make of Sam Howell's performances so far?
He's looked good. I mean, there are always some things you need to work on, but I mean, that's something we've talked about as far as what the expectations kind of going into this season have been for Sam, in the sense of, picking up the blitz or knowing what's happening, holding on the football maybe a little too much. There are some elements to his game that I think you'll see him get better at just through repetition and just through having enough playing time. But that's stuff that'll all work out just with the more snaps they get. Everybody has the growing pains they go through, right? But what we're seeing as far as like that release, what he's doing with releasing that football, when he's been able to show as far as being able to run and actually absorb some contact, even if I didn't love seeing it, there's this moxie, this ballsiness to him. I heard somebody say, I don't remember if it was in like one of our text threads or whatever, but it was almost like he feels like he's more talented Taylor Heineke, but not necessarily as brash as far as the personality. But it's like there's a sense of confidence that you get from him in the way that it looks like he's playing that I do appreciate and I do like seeing. Yeah, I mean, there's the footwork looks good at times, but more than anything, it's just that release of that football compared to like what it is we've seen recently from Carson Wentz or from Taylor Heineke or from anyone else. The dude has an NFL arm, and that feels good. And the fact that you can see that he's not afraid to take his shots and to let our guys go after it. You see him trusting Jahan Dotson, trusting Terry McLaurin, throwing these guys open, realizing or trusting what it is he's seeing on the defense to know, hey, I can throw the ball right there. There's going to be something there for us. Like all those things that's something we haven't necessarily gotten from the quarterback position in a while. At least not consistently. Like I think I was looking at it, ever since Kirk Cousins was last year, we've started at least 3 quarterbacks every season.
Wow.
Be injuries or performance, right?
Yeah. Incredible.
It's like you literally look at the list and it's nuts in the sense of it's usually unheard of. Look, I'm going to start maybe this will be on the podcast now. I'm going to stop fucking with my camera. I'm just going to give Amit a nice little screenshot of myself. So I'm going to be static for most of the episode. I guess I'll leave myself in the beginning, but we're just going to leave that. Plus, that's kind of funny. The way
I do like this. I do like this a lot, actually.
Yeah, we're just going to, we're going to leave it.
Perfect.
So just the element of like, holy shit, maybe we actually have a guy. You don't need to mock me.
I'm not mocking you. I was just trying to get it right. Please continue.
Yeah, there's just those elements of Sam Howell that make you just believe in something. Like there's a faith now that we have in this team that we haven't necessarily had, especially at that position. And with the new ownership and everything else, this all just feels good. It just feels good. And in looking, especially if we're keeping right to the offense, especially last year when we were talking about Scott Turner and his unwillingness, it seemed, to give our guys the ability to make plays, just giving them the opportunities to go make plays. Everything always felt so buttoned down. We have to do things this way. It didn't really feel like they were setting up this way. And it's just Sam Howell saying, hey, let's get down the fucking field, guys. Let's get down the field.
It's been great. It's honestly been great to see. It's refreshing. I think the difference between Taylor Heineke, Sam Howell, Taylor Heineke, very fun. Sam, I think, has a level of efficiency. We'll see. It's only been one NFL regular season start, of course. But considering he's learning a new offense, considering people look at the 5th round pick sort of price tag on him, and a lot of people view him solely as a 5th round pick. They go, hey, looking at prior drafts, he can't succeed, or it's very, very low chance that he succeeds. Look, the NFL draft's a crapshoot. Situation matters a whole lot. You could have been mocked earlier in prior years. For example, Sam Howell could have been a 1st round pick the year prior when he had Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, De'Ami Brown, etc. Things happen. On the subject of De'Ami Brown, I think it's very, very cool, KDot, that we have the trio that people talk about of Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, and the guy he might have the most chemistry with because of college is De'Ami Brown. I mean, it is very cool to have 4 options that you trust, right, as a young quarterback. Then there's also Cole Turner, who has been making plays throughout at the tight end position. We can't rely on Logan Thomas like we could before. Logan Thomas actually exceeded expectations there for a little bit. Now he's getting a bit more banged up. Now we have to go to a true tight end, not one converted from QB, who has done a spectacular job, to be clear. But Cole Turner has made plays this preseason. Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, Jared Patterson. What a play to get in the end zone. Yeah. Like, we're talking about you're seeing effort. And I think a lot of times last season, we questioned the efficiency of the offense. We questioned the effort of the offense. And that's why Eric Bieniemy is absolutely beloved by everyone over here. We snapped that 24-game win streak. You can say it meant nothing. It meant something to me as a fan after all we've been through, right? It's a small thing. It mattered. A lot of people on ESPN it mattered. Troy Aikman was like, this is the best preseason game I've ever been to. Like there are little things. It mattered. Joe Buck was getting excited on the call when a 2-point conversion didn't go through for us. When the kick went in, that mattered. And so it is refreshing to see this energy over here. Now, KDot, let's talk about something that could affect the regular season. Yeah. Right. So Terry McLaurin, we're in the 2-minute drill. He ends up getting hurt. And if you look at social media, a lot of people are like, what was he doing in the game? What was he doing in the game? It's a meaningless preseason game. Why aren't we bubble wrapping our best players? KDot, where do you stand on that? Were you okay with Terry being in the game? Were you not okay with Terry being in the game?
I was perfectly fine with Terry being in the game. It's football, guys. Anytime that anybody's out on the field, there's always a chance that you're going to have an injury happen. Okay.
This is a spectacular still shot, by the way. It's perfect for what you're saying. Please continue.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, all right, never mind. I'm gonna leave.
Please continue. I did not mean to.
No, you're good. You're good. It's my own damn fault. The COVID and the camera. I had no problem with it. I understand the aspect of people are like, it feels weird as far as preseason, but look, with the way that the off seasons have gone across the NFL recently, when it comes to the truncated time that the guys are spending as far as as far as in camp, the fact that you can't have as much physical contact as you typically would in training camp, the fact that the preseason games have been cut down from 4 games to 3. How many times have we seen across the league, really, at the beginning of the season, you got everybody's just trying to figure themselves out because they just don't have enough time with each other. So you have to get the time in. Now, I understand there's a difference between, hey, let them get the time in the meaningful games compared to the meaningless games, but I don't necessarily want them always figuring out and just having losses stack up on the fucking column in the standings. So there has to be time that these guys are spending together. I think it's just depending on whether or not you're going to do it in game 2 or game 3, right? So, like, even watching Hard Knocks, which we've talked about, I know that, like, the third game or the last game, Salah's having everybody fucking suit up, right? So you got Aaron Rodgers, all those guys are going to play, and there could be injuries that's happening. It's part of the game of football. You hope for the best, but sometimes shit just goes down. It's very important for Sam Howell to get as many reps as he possibly can with the ones in all kinds of different situations and circumstances, so it's not brand new to him. I want to see him have time with Terry McLaurin in a 2-minute drill before it becomes a real thing, right? That's what you want to see.
If I could just jump in, just because I feel very strongly about this as well. I not only had no problem with it, I almost have a problem with people having a problem with it. Because, look, like KDot said, first and foremost, it's football. Any sport, there is an injury risk. Okay, that's going to happen. You talked about, the fans, all of us, talked about how the defense was good last season and the offense wasn't.
Yep.
So what do you want? Right? Like, we have a brand new offensive coordinator. There's some question marks around him. How involved was he in Kansas City? Well, a great way to answer it is to play your fucking guys. Okay, that's 1. 2, what about the joint practices? They're not thousands of fans there. It's different when you were playing under the lights. That was a nationally televised game. Could that get to certain players? Do certain players have drops in those moments or a lapse in concentration, knowing that the spotlight's on them? That matters. And then you need to get live repetitions. I don't care if you're going against 2s, 3s, 4s. It does not matter. You need to see this in action. There's a 40-second clock with fans screaming. You cannot simulate that in a joint practice. You have to play. And for these guys to get on the same page before the regular season is critical. For Eric Bieniemy's reputation, it lines up perfectly. He is this hard-nosed, old-school coach that wants to make sure the details are correct. Well, how do you know the details are going to be correct if you don't play in the preseason? You have to. When there was the weather delay in Cleveland and people were like, oh man, the field's wet, not worth it. Shut up. Like, if you are a competitor, you want to be out there. What, the field's going to be wet in the regular season? You want to not play there either? Like, you have to be able to be prepared for any and all conditions. Injuries are part of it. Coaching staff will make the appropriate call in the middle of the game. But if you want to play your guys, play your guys. It is that simple to me, Kate. I could not believe the number of people who were actually upset Terry was out there. Maybe it was a coping mechanism, but I had zero issue with it because I want to see it. They need to experience it so that by the time week 1 comes around, been there, done that. That is it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with it being a coping mechanism, right? Like, how dare anyone say that what we're looking at when it comes to this team, especially on offense, with a new quarterback, a new offensive coordinator, that a new system, that you need the reps. They need the fucking reps. They need as many reps as they possibly can. And I know that, like, we have the preseason game that's coming up tomorrow against Cincinnati. But I know that there's already word that Jacoby Brissett, or as I like to call him, Jacoby Brisket, is going to get the start with the ones, because that's what was happening in the last practice the last couple days. He's been practicing with the ones. What did I just bring up at the beginning of this segment? Since Kirk Cousins, we've had 3 quarterbacks at a minimum start for us each season since the days of Kirk. We need these guys to have reps with each other. We don't want a situation in which they're getting out there on the field just trying to fucking figure it out on the fly if they can have as much time to get it right as possible. It's football, man. There's always going to be shit that goes down, but that's when we talk about in those moments, like in that Ravens game, when you got the third stringers there at the end really fighting fucking hard, that's where the depth comes in. You need to have guys that can come out and fucking play. And I get Terry doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. That's not what it's about. But what Terry needs is reps with Sam.
Exactly.
So they're on the same fucking page. Like, that's what needs to happen. When you're seeing those, when you see like what Patrick Mahomes is able to do with Travis Kelce, it's because they trust each other and they know what each other's going to do on the field, right? Like, the reason we look at the De'Ami Brown and Sam Howell connection is because they have a history together. They can anticipate each other. They need that level of anticipation with playmakers like Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin to get in the sync with Sam Howell, especially when it looks like, from what you can see Sam Howell play, when he's holding on the football, going through his progressions, trying to figure out where it's going to. We got a guy that looks like at the quarterback position is going to be a playmaker. And those playmaker things is what happens when the play breaks down. What happens when you're getting a defensive look you didn't anticipate at the beginning? What happens when you got dudes? They need to be able to anticipate each other. And the more that they get the reps like that, it's all worth it. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, but it's fucking football. Look, I was just watching the fucking highlight of DeAndre Hopkins fucking juking the Achilles off of fucking D'Angelo Hall. That was a goddamn scrimmage. It's football. The shit happens. It's a sport in which you go through these bursts of high energy, throwing everything going up to 100 miles an hour in these short bursts. Human body's not supposed to do that shit. Okay? It's right. Not. And then you also have the physical contact of the fucking sport. Those are the things that are always going to be random. And they're not putting anybody at risk in practicing and making sure that we're doing things the right way going into this.
Hey, KDot, how did Joe Burrow get hurt again?
Which one? Which time?
Well, just this past offseason, how did he get hurt again? Because what I remember is he dropped back, rolled right, and that was it.
That was it.
Innocuous,
bring out the cart.
Right? Like, it's going to happen. It doesn't matter whether it's practice, whether it's a preseason game, whether it's a joint practice. There is always a risk, even when you're at work not paying attention to it, right? There is a risk every single day. So you may as well see it. And this is perfect now. You know, Jacoby Brissett starting with the ones, that's something that may need to happen this season. So why not give him the opportunity against Cincinnati so that he also is ready for that moment, just in case? I think the coaching staff has done a very, very good job managing this so far. I really do. And Terry getting hurt, well, guess what else came with it? Because Terry played, because Jahan played, because Sam played, you've got a real good vibe around this team right now. The way you feel about Eric Bieniemy is really good right now. I saw his Wednesday post-practice presser. You should have seen the comments, KDot. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, love this guy. He should be our head coach right now. He knows what he's doing. You maybe don't get that if you're just playing 2s and 3s, right? And the offense looks a little more out of sync, and you have no idea how your one offense looks, right? So the narrative shifts because you're willing to quote unquote risk guys for this. That is Oh man, I just get heated thinking about it. But that's where I stand on it, is that it's been an excellent, as good a preseason as you could really hope for, in my opinion.
100%. Like it's the only thing you ever hope for is that everybody gets out healthy.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing you really do. And that all that is a hope. There's no guarantees and all that. The only guarantee is to not let anybody play. And if you don't let people fucking play, you don't let them get used to the speed. You don't use. That's when you get motherfuckers dropping out with hamstring injuries in week 1 or week 2. They need to get the reps. I always remember. You remember the preseason game, the Clinton Portis injury?
Yes.
Chasing down the interception against the Bengals. And he was hustling. He was hustling like a mother. I'm gonna try. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure I'm.
There you go. Perfect.
I'm gonna keep it like this.
Freeze that.
You go right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to talk in this. The Clinton Portis when he was chasing down the interception, and to me it hurt to see him get hurt on that. But what I love to see more than anything, and what I loved for the rest, God damn it,
of course I did on that one.
Whatever, leaving it.
Leave it. Show goes on, buddy. I think all things considered, we've done quite well.
But that's to show the effort that he made on that fucking play on keeping somebody out of the end zone was something that was awesome to see. And I always remember that being the takeaway for me, is that in this game, this motherfucker was still being able to put it all on the line to stop them from getting in the fucking end zone. And that was fucking dope. That football, man. It's just, it's when it's your turn, it's your turn.
I completely agree. Why don't we jump over to the comment mailbag, where we have 2 comments over here. One from Patriot Clips 5648, one from ViNdOh OG. And Patriot Clips actually, I think, has been posting a lot recently, so appreciate that. Beginning with Patriot Clips, seems like Ron is just subtly shifting blame. This is in reference to the Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy stuff. Almost like if things go bad and the offense is terrible, he has already planted the seed. I remember, thank you for the comment there, Patriot Clips. Appreciate that. I think a lot of people have that thought, KDot, that it was sort of setting it up such that if the offense isn't doing well, people had issues with Eric Bieniemy before the season. So maybe that's the reason this happened. What do you make of that comment? Do you buy into it at all? A little? Not at all.
I don't buy into it, not one bit.
Okay.
I just don't. Like, I don't think Ron's that guy. I think we're looking at it through the lens of this being a dysfunctional ass organization and everyone having an ulterior motive and everyone being fucking selfish and everyone trying to save their own ass. I don't think that's been Ron. I think Ron has been honest to a fucking fault. I think he's been
that's
too
where
honest
I land
at
on
times.
It, is that I don't think there was any malintent. I think he was just too honest.
That's the thing. And like I said, when we broke down what happened with that, and I said, I wish he doubled down and didn't back up, is that just speaks to also who Ron is. He's not confrontational when it comes to the media or any of this other shit. He's just not. He's a good guy. He's a reason the culture started to shift in Ashburn. You need to give the credit where credit's due. He's a good dude. He just does things that we're not used to in a football business atmosphere, which, look, some people might take that and say, oh, well, no, we wish he was more like Bill Belichick. I say it's good to know that we have actual good, honest human beings working for our fucking team. Absolutely. Maybe we need an asshole every once in a while when we get to that point. Maybe we need the dickhead that'll lead us to lead us to championships. But I appreciate the fact that we can always look. The best coach we've ever had in this town is Joe Gibbs, who was another dude that was damn near honest to a fucking fault. I appreciate it.
It's a good point. And then we move over to ViNdOh. OG, shout out ViNdOh. Forbes fight was crazy. Not going to lie. Love to see the fire in Brody. Tell you what, I appreciate the comment there, ViNdOh. Emmanuel Forbes has been great. He hasn't had an opportunity to pick a pass off just yet, but based on the practice clips, based on, you could just see the length, KDot, and his open field tackling is really good. I was not expecting that, because you hear all this stuff about his size. Heck, even when we drafted him, we looked at his size immediately. We're like, what are we doing? But he's been nothing but great, man.
He works his ass off. There's no denying he's working at 100% the entire way through. And I love it. There's effort there on every fucking play. It's dope to see. He's going to be a playmaker. Look, everyone get it out of your system right now. He's a rookie cornerback. The motherfucker's going to get his ass beat, every once in a while. It's part of the learning process. But I tell you right now, the way that it's shaping up and the way that when you remember the words that you had other players in the NFL talk about him, we have ourselves a fucking playmaker. And there's reason to be excited. But get behind him and realize that we're going to cheer him on even with the growing pains, because it happens to all of them when it comes to being a defensive back. There might not be a harder position in all of football to play outside the quarterback position in defensive back.
Oh, there definitely is not a harder position. Corner is insanely hard these days.
Right on. But we love the effort. There was another guy in the preseason game that did not do a great job as far as tackling effort. I'm not going to call him out directly, but it was awesome to see that Forbes' tiny ass, like Darryl Green out there, right? Like, here comes this tiny guy out there, but he gonna show you through his heart. He out there.
Absolutely.
You gonna feel me. Love it.
That was the Comment Mailbag. This is District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically a Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is a still image of KDot saying, "You gonna feel me." We really appreciate you guys listening, as you always do. Apologies for the technical difficulties today. If you enjoyed today's episode, sans the technical difficulties, please like the video, please share the video, please subscribe to the channel, and please comment as you always do, because we enjoy reading those. Gives us different topics to consider and talk about with you guys. Greatly appreciate it. We release every Friday, 2 p.m. We got the Bengals game tomorrow's Saturday. And then on to the regular season. Very much looking forward to it. Next week's episode, we're going to get into our season predictions for the NFL as a whole. And then 2 weeks from then, it's going to be a preview of week 1 against the Cardinals, as well as our Commanders season predictions. And until then, take it easy. Enjoy your weekend after the pod begins right now. Boom.
Yeah, what I should have did was do a little disclaimer at the beginning of the episode. Say, hey, just listen to this. Don't watch. Pull up some red.
I could do that. I could very easily. Yeah, just throw this in the background.
Just throw this in the background. Do some other shit.
If you're on YouTube, close it. Go to Spotify. It's good to have you back, dude. It is good to have you back.
I'm hating these technical difficulties. Like the computer. I mean, that is the thing. I haven't really been on here. I haven't been on my computer during my whole COVID stuff. Like the last time I was actually on here was to do the fantasy draft order for our fantasy league.
Right.
So maybe it's a little rusty.
Could be one of those, if you don't use it, you lose it type things. But given your facial expression, you haven't lost a damn thing, my friend. It looks like you're living your best life.
Have that still be the
come on. We're just having some fun there, bud.
Yeah.
Now it's your real name. Oh, there you are. I was going to say, you know what? I was noticing it is a lot easier to podcast when I can see your facial expressions.
It's so much easier.
Because I was like trying to figure out when you were when you were finishing up your statement. I couldn't tell nearly as well, obviously, as when I can read the facial expression.
Complete advantage on my end. I can see everything you're doing because everything else is working fine. It's just the picture freezes, which makes me think it might be the camera.
Could it be on my end? Is it possible that it's on my end? Okay, cool.
No chance.
Just wanted to clear the allegations that it was on it was on this end.
There's even a good chance it's not the computer. I think it might be the cam and the setup.
Okay.
You know, I'm not even gonna look. My dumbass might not even have a memory card in the camera right now, which would be an issue.
Oh man, so did you? So while you were out with COVID, did you watch any movies? Were you just resting the whole time? Like, what were you up to?
So, what probably got me COVID was all the fucking movies I was seeing.
Okay.
It's a good chance that's what happened. But I did get caught up with some movies. There's a movie series I was able to watch that I had not seen, and I really always wanted to, which was the why am I blanking on his name?
Because you had COVID.
Yeah, probably. The fucking brain fog is a motherfucker.
Yeah, next question.
The newer Planet of the Apes movies. I was able to watch all of those, which was something I had always wanted to do.
Yeah.
There are 2 movie series that I had never seen that there's really no excuse for me not seeing them, which is the Lord of the Rings and Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
But I cared more about Planet of the Apes than I did Lord of the Rings. It will always be the case. And I adored it. It's fucking awesome. And then outside of that, I was able to stream some movies, and I have my initial top 10 list of 2023, which is cool.
Okay.
And I posted on my Instagram, which also was cool. And I got
How many followers you got on there again? I feel like you have a bunch, right? Like over 10K, 11K?
Yeah, just north of 10K.
Okay. It's quality, dude.
But I did my top 10 movies so far of 2023. And there are some movies I still haven't seen that I need to see that have already come out. One in particular is called The Unknown Country. Directed by Marissa Maltz and starring Lily Gladstone, who is a name that I think everybody needs to know. But what was cool was that I did they had a premiere of that movie in Baltimore that I got invited to, and I wasn't able to make it because I was in DC that day or that evening.
Okay.
But I gave them a shout out, and they actually reposted me on the movie's official social media channels.
Whoa.
The director shouted me out on her social media channels, and I was able to say nice things and get feedback about what I said about Lily Gladstone, who I think will be a household name by the end of the year. So that
did they also have the disclaimer? If you see this man, stay at least 6 feet away from him because he is sick as a dog.
No, they don't know anything about my COVID status. But
okay. Dude, that's super cool though. I mean, all jokes aside, that is awesome. Must have felt really nice.
Really dope.
Okay, cool.
It was fun.
I ended up seeing this movie yesterday called Grave of the Fireflies. I'd heard really good things about it. I don't know if you've heard of it. It is a like Studio Ghibli film from 1988. So I had to get a bit used to the animation and stuff like that. It's supposed to be one of the saddest movies of all time. It's like a World War II film type thing. And I didn't find it to be the saddest movie of all time, but man, was it fucking depressing. Just all the way through. You're just like, oof. It's just one of those slow burns, if you will. Like, you know what's coming. Kind of like a Breaking Bad in that respect. Like, you kind of know what's coming with Breaking Bad. And it is just sort of a slow burn to the end. That was the way I viewed that series. Was like, let's be real. We know how this is going to end. And so that was quite similar with Grave of the Fireflies yesterday. Enjoyable in certain respects. I think it did a really good job of contrasting life in different classes and how certain ones were reacting to the war versus others. And then just the, teenage innocence, child innocence all through. Actually, the more I think about it, it was a really, really good movie. It was just, oof. It was a tough watch for sure.
I have heard of it because I am a fan of Studio Ghibli movies, but mostly anything Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Saying his name right? Has made. So like My Neighbor Totoro, Keys Delivery Service, all that. And he's got a new movie coming out, which will be the last movie he ever makes.
I did not know that.
Out this year.
Okay.
They finally released the name. Hang on.
Yeah, sure. By the way, your camera's been perfect since we started after the pod.
Like, you fucking just jinxed it.
I did. That's amazing.
You literally just jinxed it.
This is voice command. I think we're just learning how to use it.
God damn it.
What are you looking at, KDot?
The boy and the Heron.
The Heron. Okay. No, I don't know. That is amazing. The timing of that was spectacular.
Fucking nuts. But yeah, that movie's coming out because he's Miyazaki is what, 80-something years old now, and he does movies on his own time, and he said that this is going to be his last one, so that's exciting. But
gotcha.
No, I need to check that movie out. I've seen all of his, or I would say, maybe not all of his stuff, because I don't know his entire filmography, but I've seen most of his stuff.
I would be curious as to your reaction to the film. It got 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, it is one of those that's critically acclaimed. Like, everyone agrees, man, what a film.
Right.
I think it was built up so much for me that I was like, okay, it couldn't have possibly even met the expectations, but it was still really good the more I think about it. Like, it still is worth seeing and a really, really good film.
Well, I mean, I actually, that movie brings up a lot about what I've been having a huge debate with people on my Instagram and off my Instagram about the movie Oppenheimer. Okay. One of the biggest criticisms of the movie Oppenheimer that I've been getting from people that have told me it is my number one movie so far this year.
Yeah.
And I've been getting a lot of people saying that they're very upset that they don't speak on the perspective of the dropping of the atomic bomb from the Japanese perspective or the Los Alamos test site from the Native American standpoint.
Yeah.
And one of my things has always been that I think that there have been quite a lot of films written from the Japanese perspective, and I would hate to see a whitewashed Christopher Nolan version of what it is the Japanese experience when it came to the war.
You have a good point there.
You know, I don't want a white screenwriter to try to let me understand culturally what the Japanese were experiencing during World War II. I don't think that's his place.
And the other thing is, I think when we talk about Christopher Nolan, he's so good at what he does. Any idea of trying to go, I wish he, or like controlling what Christopher Nolan should do is insane to me. It very much is. He is at that level now where he is more or less beyond criticism when it comes to his artistic vision of something. Like, go with it. The guy to me is a genius. That's how I feel about him.
I think there's a part. I think that can be true. I mean, as someone that loves film, I love film criticism, and I'm all for it. I just and I think people can have that perspective as far as what it is they think when it comes to they wanted to see the Japanese perspective or anything. But to me, it's just a discussion that happens, and I just fundamentally disagree. They can have that opinion, they can have that take, but I think those are the same people that would be upset if he did do that.
Fair enough.
In saying that,
so like that.
So that's my thing. Is like, I don't think Christopher Nolan's above criticism in the sense of some of his content. I don't think his strongest suit has been script writing.
Yeah.
I don't think he has nailed dialogue. I don't think that he's great at directing emotion. If I'm being completely honest, as much as it's or it's not on the page. It's more about what it is that he can evoke emotion through what he's showing you in spectacle. He can make you feel things. I can watch the movie Dunkirk or watch Interstellar, and the vastness of space in Interstellar evokes a certain feeling. Or the way he'll shoot things, the way that he keeps it practical really gets your heart in it. But as far as like human to human love, pain, hurt, it's mostly left up to the actors to really do that.
Yeah.
That's why in Interstellar you have Matthew McConaughey giving a hell of a performance in that. I think Oppenheimer is probably the best job he's ever done as far as that emotional aspect of it, which is what's great to me. But I
still
also
need
think,
to see it.
Yeah, you do. But the list of performers that I think are giving 10 out of 10 performances in that movie to me was it was almost a revelation. I think it's the best I've seen Robert Downey Jr. in years.
Okay. Nice.
My favorite actress living right now is Florence Pugh, and I think she killed it. Cillian Murphy.
Oh, she's fantastic, man. Oh, very, very good.
Yeah, no, it's great. As a matter of fact, have I done my top 10 on the pod?
You have before? Oh, this year? No, you did it last year, I believe.
So I'm curious how many of these top 10 you've seen.
You know the answer is 0, but go ahead.
Is it really going to be 0?
I don't see like I just sought out a 1988 film. Oh, and by the way, on that topic, real quick, you would have been proud of me. I did think of you yesterday because at the end of the movie, I was like, okay, got it. And then I went to Reddit because I was like, I got a very different takeaway from what the popular thing is, which is that it's an anti-war film. I was like, I actually don't think I got that. I got something else from it. And then, as it turns out, the director exactly described what I got from it as the point. And I was like,
shit.
I did it. KDot would be proud of me.
Very nicely done.
Just a nice moment there. Anyway, please go ahead. Top 10.
So my top 10 movies of 2023 so far that I've seen. I'll do my honorable mentions first. How many of these have you seen? I got 5 honorable mentions.
Okay, man. It's going to be an embarrassing 0.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
No, I've not seen that.
Creed 3.
No.
Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
No, I would like to see that one.
I'm one of the only person that liked that movie.
Okay, I like Ant-Man. It's funny.
Missing.
No.
Air.
No.
I thought you'd at least have seen Air. God
no,
damn it.
I haven't seen Air. Air is the one with is that Matt Damon with the
creation of Jordan Tennessee?
Yeah, I have not seen that.
All right. I mean, I was late to Air. I watched Air over my COVID break.
Apparently, I'm still late to Air. Please continue.
All right, so my top 10. Number 10 is John Wick Chapter 4.
Haven't seen it.
Number 9 was Barbie.
Nope. Should.
Number 8 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
No, of course not.
Number 7 is Rye Lane.
No, I'm telling you, it's going to be a no.
Great. This is so amazing.
Go ahead.
Number 6, they clone Tyrone.
No.
Number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Never got into those. I've heard great things. No.
Number 4, Talk to Me.
Couldn't even tell you who's in it.
Number 3, Beau is Afraid.
No, I want to see it though.
I own that now.
Okay,
nice. I own half the list. Number 2, Across the Spider-Verse.
No, heard great things, dude.
We already know about Oppenheimer.
Yep, I haven't seen him.
God damn, son.
I've told you the answer is 0.
Have you seen a single? Have you gone to the movie theaters once this year?
No. Which is probably why I haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, I guess that was evident.
Right. Because what if I were like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
What the fuck have you seen? Yeah.
Right, no shit. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. Yeah, movie theaters are my most fun place to be.
I mean, the thing is, I am now so much more. Oh, definitely hitting a hard stop in a moment. But yes, I only wish you weren't frozen when I was just going, nope, heard great things.
My face was contorting and doing all sorts of shit, honestly.
No, I'm more into TV shows now than I am films. I feel like because I enjoy the level of depth that shows can get to because they have time. Versus I feel like movies are now feeling a bit more rushed for me, where there is a conflict, but they sort of they have to do it within, in the case of Oppenheimer, it's 3 hours? And that's considered long, but like and so I think they can do it. But if you're like 2 hours, 90 minutes, like I just don't know that it gets to the depth that I'm now kind of used to. I don't know what I'm.
It's a different thing. I was talking to somebody about that not too long ago. Is the differences in medium, movies, books, comic books.
That made it sound like I was deep, which I don't know. But like you know what I mean. Like it is a different taste.
It's a different thing. But the only thing I would caution against, and this is where I was having the conversation with somebody about this, is that it's not cautioning you, because I think you stated that wonderfully. But like, it always annoys me when you hear somebody say, I don't think this is universal, but in some cases it's, oh man, the book was so much better than that, or the movie. And it's like, it's a completely different medium. The way that you can delve into detail on things in a book, you can't even do on a TV show most of the time, right? Like the way that you can delve into character study in a television show, very different than what it is you can do in a movie. They're different, and for some people it's just a different thing. But I think that it's like judging them on their merit. Now, trust me, there are some times where I think that you can adapt a book in a movie form and it just misses the mark completely.
Sure, that can certainly happen. Please continue.
But there's always this element of like my issue with TV now, even though I think that we've reached just this zenith of like, there's so many options and so many television shows. I do think that there's a lot of people that might be spending time. There are certain shows that they're spending more time than we need to. I think that there is this sort of filler fluff bullshit that happens in this fake intellectualism.
There's a lot of that.
Right. It's
There's a lot of that.
Where it's like, you watch some episodes and be like, that was a waste of my time, everyone's time, that didn't do anything. And to me, that's why I appreciate movies in that way. Like, I'm not going to say that I think movies are better than book. I don't read. I'm not a huge reader of fiction. It's just not my thing.
Fair enough.
But I love a good TV show. I love a great movie. To me, it's the movie and the spectacle, and that's why I like going to the movie theater. And I think that's also, you can't get the same thing watching it on TV. There's something about being in the theater around other people experiencing this thing as a collective that can't be replicated in the other mediums.
That's fair. No, that is totally fair. And I think it's just been a while since, I bet if I went on a little movie kick, it would take off. And I would actually probably see at least half of these, for example, that are on your list. Because then I would be like, okay, now I'm in that rhythm. Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to need you to play hooky one of these days from work.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to spend the entire day at Alamo Cinema Draft House.
Just movie after movie after
Yeah.
movie. That actually sounds kind of fun. I'd be
They
interested
have
in that.
Tuesday cheat movie day, and we
Okay.
can do back to back to back. The most. I won't even know what the fuck is on the calendar. We're just gonna do it, just to do it.
Perfect. Hey, that actually sounds like a good time. I'd be interested in that. On the subject of people that say the book's better than the movie, that's going to be the case most of the time because your subconscious expectation's way too high. Like, it cannot cover everything that you have in mind. You'll have certain things at the forefront of your mind that it covers. And even if it does, there are going to be a couple things you're like, oh, I forgot that I wanted it to cover that. It didn't. Now it's disappointing. Like, so it's impressive when it gets close, honestly. And it's also the reason why sequels typically aren't as good as the first one, because the first one set an expectation and it was good enough to warrant a sequel. And so then you go, okay, it needs to match that. And it's difficult. It's difficult. The only funny example of a sequel being as good, if not better, and I say funny example, if not better than the first one, is Rush Hour, because they literally swapped who said the joke. And that was it. It was brilliant. They didn't change the script much. They changed the location. And instead of Jackie Chan saying the line, it was Chris Tucker, and vice versa. It was the same movie, basically. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. But there are, of course, other examples of sequels being a whole lot better than the first one. But that one in particular, I enjoyed the efficiency of it, if you will. I thought I was like, man, pretty cool. They just changed it.
Named one of my least favorite movie series of all time.
Of course I did. Of course I did.
Fucking hate Rush Hour.
Why do you hate Rush Hour?
I don't think it's funny at all. I think that there's so many different buddy cop.
If you're in the comments, I know you agree with me.
I don't give a fuck. There's a difference between nostalgia and good. And y'all motherfuckers love living in nostalgia land. It's not fucking good. It's racist as shit.
Of course it is.
It's lowbrow racism. It's not good. If you want some good racism, in a movie, in a buddy, 48 Hours. Nick Nolte, Eddie Murphy. Those motherfuckers are saying some of the most heinous shit you could possibly say to the other person who can do the race.
Nick Nolte was great in that.
48 hours and another 48 Hours?
That's what I was told. I didn't see it.
God damn it. 48 Hours. Great buddy cop movie. Plays on the tropes. Does those other, but does it in a good, amazing fucking way. Rush Hour to me was always... Rush Hour was the bastardized bullshit. Hey, we got a new race guy. Let's do it. Let's throw an Asian in the buddy cop thing.
It's Jackie Chan doing stunts, which everyone enjoys. And Chris Tucker with the occasional good one-liner. What's the problem with that? It doesn't need to go beyond
Lethal
that.
Weapon. It's lesser 48 Hours.
Oh, you would hate Bollywood, just to be clear.
No, because I think
it's all.
But I think Bollywood, what they'll do is that they raise the absurdity.
They do. They know what they are. They're very self-aware. There is a self-awareness to the film.
It's not give me a lesser version of something that somebody else has done better.
Okay, fair enough.
We're going to raise the stakes. The budgets are, we don't have the same CGI guys. We don't have the same budgets, but what we're going to do, we're going to make, this is going to be some crazy shit. You know what you're going to watch when you watch this Bollywood movie? Nothing you've ever seen before.
Well, that's true. I'll give him that. And its own soundtrack. It's always new music.
Rush Hour it's the most annoying Chris Tucker. It's the most annoying Jackie Chan. And it's just, I hate Rush Hour. I fucking hate Rush Hour.
I did not know this.
It's even lesser Bad Boys, man. Like Bad Boys even shits on this fucking movie.
Oh my god.
I hate Rush Hour. It's that period of time, man. That late 90s bullshit that everybody thinks is good and it's not.
The Panda Express line's pretty funny.
No, they're not good lines, Comment.
Okay. Well, we're well beyond the hard stuff, so we gotta go.
You're black.
But
you're Chinese. Yes, Ching Chong. Laugh at me, black man. Michael Jackson. Don't you touch my radio. It's Tyler Perry buddy cop movie.
They flipped the joke. They flipped the joke. I'm just saying. We gotta go. We'll talk to you later.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.